morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning news on AUT. Today is 18th February, Wednesday, 2026. I am Samira Franklin, coming up with the headlines. Commander Sugar Factory disconnected from power, water, suddenly with heavy debt, Trade Minister said. Parliament lays anti-LGBTQL+ bill for second reading. Tomato traders and transporters in Kumasi suspended trips to Burkina Faso for security reasons. Ghanaians' death toll in Burkina Faso terror attack now 8. News in details. Trade Minister Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare has disclosed that the Commander Sugar Factory has been disconnected and water supply over unpaid bills. She made a revelation on the floor of Parliament on Tuesday as she provided an update on the state of the Commander Sugar Factory. The legislature explained that the facility is currently burdened by significant debt. The factory has been unable to run at full capacity due to extensive deficiencies in its machinery and equipment, which have not been refurbished since the plant was constructed in 2026. Commander Sugar Factory technical and operational deficiencies have prevented the factory from running at full capacity. The machinery and equipment of the factory have not been refurbished since construction in 2026. Equipment, generators, and motors need maintenance, and the boiler top coils need replacement to bring the factory back to life, she told Parliament.
Technical and operational deficiencies have prevented the factory from running at full capacity. The machinery and equipment of the factory have not been refurbished since construction in 2016. Equipment, generators, and motors need maintenance, and boiler top coil needs replacement to bring the factory back to life. Moreover, the factory has been disconnected from the National Grid by Electricity Company of Ghana and water supply by Ghana Water Company Limited due to unpaid bills. Added to the poor state of the equipment, the facility has accumulated significant debts. Further, operationalization of the factory has also been hindered by lack of raw materials. The farming community, which was expected to anchor the raw material supply, remains disengaged due to lack of institutional support and unclear procurement channels. The ministry has prioritized the engagement of a transactional advisor to package the factory and secure a strategic investor to operationalize the factory.
Parliament has formally laid the promotion of proper human, sexual rights and Ghanaian family value bills. 2025, widely known as the anti-LGBTQL+ bill, for a second time, clearing the way of its consideration by the House. Speaker of Parliament Alban Sumana Bagben on Tuesday, February 10th, directed the Business Committee to schedule the bill for debate, after concluding that it satisfies all constitutional and procedural requirements for reintroduction under the standing orders. The decision was guided by Standing Order 1872, which requires the Speaker to inform the House whether a private member's bill complies with Article 108 of the 1992 Constitution before it can be reintroduced. Read also, Speaker directs Business Committee to schedule anti-LGBTQ bill for parliamentary consideration. They relate of the bill marks a key step in Parliament's consideration of the proposed legislation after it faced strong opposition in its first presentations to Parliament and could not get passed due to legal suit challenging the bill. Following the inauguration of the ninth Parliament, Speaker Bagben referred the bill to the House, to the Office of the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice on January 28, 2025 for review. The Attorney General's Office submitted its observations on April 7, 2025, which were forwarded to the bill's sponsors. The bill was reviewed by the Committee on Private Members' Bill and Private Members' Motion, which unanimously advised that it could be introduced in the House. Tomato shortage is feared in Ghana after traders and transport operations have suspended trips to Burkina Faso over growing security concerns. The decision follows reports that 8 Ghanaians were killed in a recent attack in Burkina Faso. Traders say they can no longer risk their lives to travel and bring tomatoes into the country. We will not move unless we are assured of security, transport operator Kwame Nyako said. The queen mother of tomato traders at the racecourse market, Hajia Mansoura, also confirmed the boycott. We have instructed all our drivers not to go anywhere, she stated. For decades, Burkina Faso has been a major source of tomatoes for Ghana, especially during the lean season. However, the suspension of trips is already raising fears of reduced supply and possible price increases if the situation persists. Tomato trader and transport owner Nana Ajenim Boateng explained the dependency on Burkina Faso. Most Ghanaian tomato farmers rely on rainfall and cannot produce all year round, but the Burkina Faso government has invested heavily in irrigation, which allows their farmers to grow tomatoes throughout the year. That is why we go there to buy, he said. Some traders are now turning to local farms, but they said domestic production is still not enough to meet their demand. The trucks have been grounded. They are therefore calling on the government to invest in irrigation infrastructure. If we have dams, we won't have to go to Burkina Faso for tomatoes. We will be able to source them locally, trader Mary Ajekun said. Market leaders are also arguing government and security agencies to engage their counterparts in Burkina Faso to improve safety along the trade routes. If the government is not ready to construct dams, then it should at least liaise with the Burkina Faso authorities to guarantee security for transporters, Nana Ajenim Boateng added. For now, the transport of tomatoes from Burkina Faso to Ghana remains suspended as fear continues to overshadow cross-border trade. President John Dramani Mahama has emphasized with Ghanaian cocoa farmers following the price reduction of cocoa produce price per bag. Government, as part of its recent reforms in the cocoa sector, announced the reduction of the producer price from 3,625 to 2,587 per bag due to instability on the international markets. Addressing participants at the inaugural Ghana Tree Crops Investment Summit and exhibition in Accra on Tuesday, February 17th, the president called for pragmatic, farmer-centered reforms and demanded that policy decisions in Ghana's cocoa sector must take into account the reality faced by producers on a daily basis. President Mahama disclosed that he has cultivated cocoa on 50 acres, noting that changes in producers' price and input costs directly affect him just as other farmers are affected. I planted cocoa on 50 acres, so I am a cocoa farmer. When the price is reduced by the government, it affects me too. I want to emphasize with farmers so that when we take policy decisions, we understand the impact and feel it ourselves. If the price of fertilizer is high, I feel it because I also buy fertilizer, he stated. He acknowledged that fluctuations in global cocoa prices and recent adjustments within the industry require a delicate balancing decision, urging stakeholders to appreciate the complexities involved in managing the sector. President Mahama emphasized the need for policies that safeguard farmers' interests while ensuring the long-term sustainability of Ghana's cocoa industry.
I want to thank Nana Kwebusi. Andy referred to my own tree crop farm. Nana Kwebusi gave me 50 acres of land, and I planted cocoa on the 50 acres. So I'm a cocoa farmer. And so when the price was reduced by government, it affects me too. I want to be able to empathize with farmers so that when we take any policy decision, we know that it has an effect on farmers and we feel it ourselves. If there's no fertilizer, if the price of fertilizer is expensive, I feel it myself because I also buy fertilizer. I recently acquired another 100 acres of land, and this time I've dedicated it to oil palm. And so we've planted the oil palm, we're putting in the irrigation system. And so I'm endorsing Andy's suggestion. When I'm going to do a reshuffle, the mitigating factor will be that you must have a farm. So public servants, ministers, priests, clergymen, traditional rulers, everybody, try and do something.
The minority in parliament is calling on government to immediately reverse a decision to reduce the producer price of cocoa from 3,625 to 2,587 Ghana cedis per bag. Minority leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin describes it as a major setback for cocoa farmers.
Has been determined and announced for the crop year. It is legally and contractually binding. Therefore, government cannot, in the course of the particular year, vary the producer price to the disadvantage of the farmer. We, the minority, hereby call on the government as a matter of urgency to restore the producer price of cocoa in Ghana to its original value of 3,625 Ghana cedi per 64 kilogram bag with immediate effect. We also demand that government and cocoa board pay any difference that farmers and the LBCs might have suffered already by the recent announcement. Mr. Speaker,
on the same issue, Kojo Oponen Nkrumah, MP for Ofuase Ayiribi, on behalf of the 1 million cocoa farmers in the country, we beg the government to go back to cabinet and restore 3,625 Ghana cedis per bag.
Cabinet meeting when Yao Safumafo, then senior minister, put up a strong advocacy that it cannot be that the government of Ghana will look cocoa farmers in the eye
and cut their prices. And true to it, the government did not cut cocoa prices. In fact, prices rose from 475 Ghana cedis or so to about 3,100, despite the reduction in prices sometimes on the global market. Today, it is shocking to hear our colleagues on the other side say global or external factors. A few years ago, when we were telling them about the impact of external factors, they were laughing and saying that it is not possible. Today, they want to rely on external factors as a basis to cut cocoa prices by 1,000 Ghana cedis per bag. Mr. Speaker, another thing that is going to happen in the cocoa sector is that trust and credibility when it comes to policies in this area is going to suffer. Today, the government is starting conversations about introducing local financing. Who is going to have confidence in the ideas that you are mentioning when in the same cocoa year you promise the people a price of 3,600 only to, in that same year before it ends, reduce it to about 2,500? Mr. Speaker, I conclude by this submission. Our colleagues on the other side, when they were in opposition, promised the Ghanaian cocoa farmer that what is due them is actually 6,500 Ghana cedis. Their 3,600 did not even meet the 6,500 they promised. And now even the 3,100 that the previous administration left for them, they want to now cut it down to 2,500. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the 1 million cocoa farmers of this country, we beg them to go back to cabinet and restore the 3,625 Ghana cedis for the cocoa farmers.
Ghanaians, in quote, Aswansa, they have learned from experience in knowing the MPP is a bad manager of the economy. Fred Agbenyo, MP for Guan, reacts to the minority's comment on the reduction in the produce price of cocoa on the floor of Parliament with the same issue.
Under the NDC administration, we gave free seedlings to cocoa farmers. For the 8 years that they were not, Mr. Speaker, not even one seedling was given to cocoa farmers under their watch. Mr. Speaker, at a point in this country, inflation was 54%. Mr. Speaker, today as we speak, inflation is segregated. The cocoa farmer is far, far, far better off than under your watch. Mr. Speaker, it is sad when we hear our colleagues from the NPP pretend as though they like the Ghanaian farmer and for that matter the cocoa farmer. They know you. They know what you did in the past 8 years. They know that when they are looking for their enemy, you are the one they will come and look for. Mr. Speaker, your party members today, they are moving around the cocoa farms trying to instigate the farmers. The farmers know you. They know what you did when you were in power. Mr. Speaker, under your watch, you awarded contract to people to go and do cocoa roads. You gave them mobilizations. They chopped the money, they didn't go the other way. Mr. Speaker, they chopped the money, they didn't do any work. That is your legacy. Mr. Speaker, even the cocoa scholarship that were meant for poor farmers' children, you gave it to yourselves. Mr. Speaker, your track record is there for all to see. That you don't care about Ghanaian cocoa farmers, that what you care about is how to enrich yourself. And that the very little that was meant for them, you took it away from them. President Mahama has promised that by the grace of God, in the short term, we are going to make sure that 50% of our cocoa beans, we are going to add value to it. We are going to process it right here in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, we are no longer going to...
Government has confirmed that 8 Ghanaian nationals have been killed following a terrorist attack in Tetao, in the northern province of Burkina Faso. In a press release issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the government said the deadly jihadist assault, which occurred on February 14, 2026, initially claimed that lives of 7 members of the Ghanaian National Tomato Traders and Transporters Association who were engaged in lawful trading activities in the area. However, the death toll has now risen to 8 after one of the 4 injured survivors who have been receiving medical treatment succumbed to injuries.
We live in a dangerous sub-region. Recent incident has shown what the threat of instability and insecurity is to our regional integration and trade. As has been tradition over decades, we trade amongst ourselves, and so agricultural products from Ghana are traded into Burkina Faso, and agricultural products from Burkina Faso, Niger, onions, tomatoes are traded into Ghana. Recently, some traders from Ghana went to Burkina Faso to buy tomatoes, and they were ambushed in a village where they were transacting, and armed insurgents, terrorists, armed groups attacked, and unfortunately we lost a number of our compatriots. Happily, there are few survivors, and so the Ghana Army is arranging to medevac them from Burkina Faso, so that those who are injured can continue to receive treatment here in Ghana. And so, on behalf of government, people will express our condolences to the families of those who were either killed or have been injured.
Here comes to the end of the morning news on AUTV. Headline recaps. Omenda Sugar Factory disconnected from power, water suddenly with heavy debt, Trade Minister said. Parliament lays anti-LGBTQL plus bill for second reading. Tomatoes traders and transporters in Kumasi suspended trips to Burkina Faso for security reasons. Ghanaians death toll in Burkina Faso terror attack now. Up next, sports segments. I am Samira Franklin. Good morning.